On track with Vanessa Womack, Patricia Bradby. Patricia, it's been so great to meet you in the last few months. And thank you for all that you've been able to do to help me to get some guests for the show. Now, you had talked about your entrepreneur spirit and your tea business. So tell the audience about that and how that came about. And yeah, just tell us about Miss Priss Tea.
Sure. So Miss Priss Tea was an idea I had like 7 or 8 years ago. I was living in New York and I was throwing tea parties for my friends just for fun. So in our apartments, we would do like a clothes swap. And so I'd like make little sandwiches and I'd put out different types of tea. And one day my friends were like, I think you could do this for a living. Like, I think people would pay to have this experience. And so I started doing some research and I actually had like tea companies sending me samples of things and like I was trying out different scone recipes and all sorts of things. And the more research I did, the more I realized that it was going to be very expensive to open a tea room. And so I sort of took all my notes and put them in a file and was like, I'll get to that later in life, when I'm retired and have plenty of money sitting around and nothing to do. And when I moved back to Richmond in 2015, I moved back in November. And I don't know if you've ever tried to job hunt right before the holidays, but it is extremely difficult. And so I came back to this idea and I said, okay, well, maybe I should test this out. And in the case that I can't find a job, maybe I can just work for myself. And so my mom sort of helped me get things off the ground, and it's named after her. Her name is Priscilla, so Miss Priss is what some of her coworkers used to call her. And so we started this company, and at first it was just like throwing tea parties for family and friends, sort of getting some feedback. And then I got my first client maybe like a couple months after we started doing these sort of like test run tea parties, and so very quickly had to ramp up and get a business license, serve safe certification, the whole nine. And so it's been an interesting journey. I am learning a lot. This is my second company, actually. I started a nonprofit organization when I was in undergrad and ran that for about 3 years when I was in New York. That worked in New York City public schools. And the biggest lesson I took away from that was if I ever start another company, it was going to be a for-profit. Nonprofits are extremely difficult to make sustainable. And so when I went back to business school, I actually was thinking I wanted to start a social enterprise. So doing nonprofit work, but with a for-profit budget. And so now I'm working at a nonprofit and I have a for-profit company, so it's not exactly what I thought, but I'm really, really enjoying it. And I've gotten some good traction, like based on the work that I've done thus far. We're coming up on 2 years in April, and there's some exciting things sort of brewing. I'm starting to figure out packaging for a tea blend that was made specifically for my company. Yeah. So we're going to get some products going, and maybe even possibly brick and mortar this year. We'll see.
Oh, that sounds encouraging. That's great. And you said your mother is still part of it with you?
Yes.
How's that?
It's amazing because she loves to spend time together. And so it's like having a really awesome volunteer employee. She's very dedicated. She's very detail oriented. But, she has a full-time job. My mom still works. And so she tries to take the days off when I have bigger events to help me. But I love it because it's an excuse for us to hang out. And, as you get older, even when you live down the road from your family and friends, it's really hard to make the time. And so this is just another way for us to make time to spend together.
All right, that's wonderful. And you had said something earlier about when you were in grad school and your professor said, write your obituary.
Yes.
Now, you're going to tell us a little bit about that, but I just want to say, well, being a boomer, the end of life, you wanted to talk about what did you do between the dash, born and died. So what's that dash? What did you write about in your paper?
So I had a professor in graduate school who gave us the assignment to write our obituaries, and the idea was just to get us to hone in on what's really important. And so I wrote about Miss Priss Tea, which is funny because at that time I had put away this idea for like 3 or 4 years already at that point and sort of forgot about it. And when he gave this assignment, I was thinking, okay, if I were to come to the end of life, where would I want to be? What would I want to be doing? What would I want my story to be? What would I want people to say about me after I'm gone? And I really wanted to be here. I wanted to be home. I wanted to be around family and friends. And this business was something that I saw as a way to sort of like give back to the community, bring community together, spend time with family, right? So I'm spending time with my mom. In the piece that I wrote, my future daughter speaks about how she helped me with the business and learned some things growing up. And so I hope that's actually something that could happen. I mean, the wheels have started turning, you know?
And that's one thing that has been very prominent in our discussions. And you will see that with On Track with Vanessa Womack. I want to talk to the future. I want to hear the voices of the future. And I think it's exciting that, you look, if you're at a point and you're looking back, what would I have done or what can I do now? Which starts to really make you prioritize and think of what is really important. What am I doing to give back? And I know that you're doing a lot of great stuff in the community here in RVA. For those of you who don't know, it's Richmond, Virginia. But you can do great stuff in your own community, wherever you are. So as we're starting to wrap up the conversation with Patricia, I want you to sort of give us some golden nuggets. What would you say to the audience to encourage maybe a young person, a young male or female? What would you encourage them to do if they had this, wow, I got this business idea, but I can't afford to go into it? What would you say to them?
I would say tell anyone and everyone who will listen what your dreams are, because you never know who's listening. A lot of what has happened with Miss Priss has been just by the sheer luck of me talking about it incessantly. And whether it's the person I'm talking to that has resources or someone they know or someone who's just standing around overhearing our conversation, a lot of things feel like they've just sort of fallen into place for me. But I think it's a combination of things, right? So like, I don't really believe anything is sheer luck. My dad always says you make your own luck. You create those opportunities for yourself. And so if there's something that you're really passionate about that you want to do, just because you feel like you don't have the resources doesn't mean that you don't have the network to support you to help you find those resources. And so the only way that's going to happen is if you tell people what is it that you want to do. I talk to so many people who have these business ideas and they're like, but don't tell anybody because I don't want anybody to steal my idea. And the reality is, like, it is a lot of work to be an entrepreneur. Like, people are not trying to steal your idea because once they realize how much work it is, they will abandon ship. So unless they're very, very passionate about the same things you're passionate about.
And if they are, that might be an opportunity to partner or collaborate with someone. And I can go back to being old school where you say, oh, don't tell anybody your ideas because you don't want anybody to steal them. Oh my gosh, social media now, there's so many ideas out there.
It's true.
Yeah, but share your ideas with other people because you never know where those hidden resources may come from. And that's part of networking, which I know you do a ton of. And as an entrepreneur, as, of course, millennials, I mean, gadgets, I'm learning that a whole lot. That networking and sharing with others, it's very important to do so. And you get a lot of feedback from people who will help you, who might be that resource you need to take that next level or that next jump. Okay. Well, this has been fun.
Yes.
And I know that we'll do it again. And I thank you so much for being a guest with On Track with Vanessa Womack. And tell all your friends about.
I will.
Tell them, come on over and talk a little bit. And because I want to hear more millennial voices. And this is coming from a boomer. So thank you so much for being On Track with Vanessa Womack. Patricia Bradby, thank you so much. And keep doing all that great stuff you're doing out there. All right.